Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fiber Stitch. I'm actually at part 3 of this little project. We did some layering of sheer fabrics and we trapped some wool and interesting things underneath and laminated it all together. And part 2 we did a little bit of stitching. We ended in a French knot, and right now I'm picking up again with French knots. I'm using this rusty cream colour. It's a variegated, it goes from rust all the way through to cream, through some pinky colours, so I thought it might be useful. And I'm just making a little bit of dark in amongst this. We're very insipid still, we've got a lot of lack of colour in there, and we're just wanting to pick it up a bit. So I'm starting with that. But I'm also picking things up and getting ideas. I just picked up that orangey bit of lace and I thought, no, but it's given me some other ideas. For a start, I'm looking at this orange thread and see how I'm twirling it around there. I'm just sort of thinking, would they be nice as orange centers of those flowers, or could I bring it into those top flowers above? I could use some grey or some rusty colours. I just need to get more oomph in there. But looking at that bit of lace made me think, you know, what is this? It's predominantly mid kind of colours, mid to light. What about if I added something brighter? What if I put white in there? That would be a contrast. It doesn't always need to be brighter or darker. Maybe white is the thing that produces the contrast. Anyway, I'm having fun dragging out the lace box and seeing what bits there are. That one's nice and shiny, but it's cream. I'm sort of thinking, no, it needs to be white, I think, to follow this colour range we've started already in these lovely apricot, peach, pink through to grey. And so whilst I'm looking at all of these, I'm thinking we can use some. Not the creamy colours, let's get rid of those, and the beige. We need something that's a bit more standout-ish, so I'm going to go some nice bright whites. And I'm also a bit worried about this dark line of French knots I've just put in. Maybe some of those little tiny pink daisy laces as well. Definitely not that, too cream. But one of these. Yes, that's nice and white. And if I put it down, does it look like it's a highlight? Yes. It seems to me it brightens the whole thing. So I might use a couple of those. They're quite attractive, and we can add some more stitching in later to add some more colour. But the white, I quite like that. So here we go. Let's put another one in. It's a good idea to try it in a few different places to see where you like it best. You know, imagine what you're going to be doing with it. What else are you going to bring in? So I'm just trying it and we'll see. And here's another. This leaf shape is a really nice bright white that's shiny. There are so many different variations of the colour white. Hard to believe, but these are very bright. Perhaps I could bring those in. I need to visualize exactly where this picture is going to be, so I try a frame around it. I definitely want to use some of these little pink daisies in amongst all my different French knots there. I have all different colour kind of French knots because I'm not quite happy with it yet. But that pink, a little bit of that in there might really help. So I will use some laces, but I'm also thinking colour. Look at that, a nice pink through to green. That could be very nice in there. Bring out some more colour in it. What else could I possibly use? Well, you could bring something completely different in. But where's that lovely strand that I had before in pink, variegated through orange and yellow? Can you see? That's what I ended up doing there. I put it on that white flower, and it came out from the center and it added color, made it more defined. And the other thing I did whilst I had it on my needle was that I used it to sew down Where is it? There we go, the lace flower. See? Same little lines radiating out. Makes them join up, makes them match in, and adds a bit of colour. So I'm just going to do a little bit more of the same. I have another one of those lace flowers and another two of the white ones. Let's see how that looks when we finish that. And like I say, good start. I'm still concerned about this where I have the French knots that, I don't know, it just doesn't blend in as well as I wanted it to. So some of those pink flowers and maybe a few more colours in there to make it, I don't know, fit into the picture better. Let's have a look at some of these lace flowers. They really are pretty. Pop them in here and there and see where they would best work. Yes, something like that. So what I might do is load up a colour and use it, do some French knots, and at the same time just make sure I tack those little flowers down. So I'll probably use something pinkish. So here we go with the French knot. It's up from below, around the needle several times and back in close to where you started. And it depends how much you pull that thread there, whether you put tension on or not, as to whether it's a nice loopy one or a tight one, and I'm not terribly fussy either way. But whilst I'm there, I'll do a couple of those and I'll make sure that I hold down those little pink lace flowers, and I think that's going to look pretty good. And I'll work from left to right and go all the way along there and do a few French knots and we'll see. But those pink lace flowers, I think they're going to be a winner. As I'm stitching and imagining colours, I'm thinking, what do I want to push into the background? What do I want to lighten up? Or what do I want to make brighter? And what do I want to make darker? So I'm pushing those dark colours into the background more by adding pink, a light pink, which brings it more into line with the rest of it. And the white flowers, they would brighten up, make it spark. So you could do a lot with your stitches and your colour selection, and just imagine what you want and bring that out of the picture. Let me lift it up now and have a closer look. See if we can get a better view of this. Well, there's our little pink flowers and the French knots, and I think that's broken that up. It's given us a nice textural kind of thing there. So some seed stitches, some French knots. It's nice to see it evolve, shall we say. It's really changed since the first part of this video. I'm loving that. I've added some shiny orange as well into the centers of those flowers where we did those lines coming out from the dull white flowers. As I say, you can get very wrapped up in projects like this. A little bit of hand stitching, and the more inventive you are, the more you want to add. The more you add, the more you enjoy it, the more you see in it, until it becomes a real individual expression of yourself. When you decide what you're going to do, where you're going to do it, what color, that's doing things without a pattern. That's creating, and that is really, really good for you. Now I'm going to finish this off. It can't go forever. I'm looking at the centers of those flowers. I've decided against these leaf lace shapes. I think we'll concentrate on that middle ground and those centers. Let's get back to that. I could bring something else in. I could do a bunch of bright yellow French knots. I could put a button in. I could do a whole bunch of beading on there. So many things. And no one color is right. I liked that tan kind of bronzy colour, but they're still a little bit dull for me. I am thinking maybe just some white. So I'm going to use maybe 3 strands of white here, and I'll separate that out, load up a needle, knot on the other end, come up through the center of those flowers, and I've decided I'm going to do a little bit of seed stitch in there. Nothing too dramatic, but it starts me on my way to thinking. I do like it. It does show up a little bit better in real life than it is on screen, and it's a little bit more texture, but it's still not going to be enough. But I'll do what I've done on one, I'll continue down and do on the others. And whilst I've got white on, I think it's a good idea to catch down the edges of these flowers as well. You know, so those lace flowers we've added on top, they need attaching a little bit better on the edges. So just use that white because it matches in and helps me travel from one area to another. Whilst I'm sewing, I'm getting a couple of things done. So there it is. 1, 2, 3. We've done those. And a few other bits and pieces whilst we were at it. And look at that white. I decided another thing I'd do was to do a second line inside the first on the petals of white, just to give it that little bit extra. But my last thing, I got to make those centers just show up a bit more. I'm thinking I could put something a little darker as a circle inside that circle. You know, something that would really make it stand out better. I'm looking at that really nice hot pink, and I'm even thinking this grey, perhaps. You know, like an outline. That does make it stand out better. Now, up until now, I've done running stitch, but I'm thinking I want a nice solid line. So I'm going to do a back stitch, and I'll just use a couple of strands of this grey floss, and I'll come up from underneath and I'll do a single stitch, and then I'll pretend I'm coming up like a running stitch, leaving a gap. But instead of continuing on, I'm going to go back on myself and put the needle in at the end of the stitch before. And that means we'll end up with a continuous line, always going ahead and then coming back. And instead of having those gaps like a running stitch has, we'll have a nice stronger line. I use that a lot if I really want something to show up. Sometimes if you're not sure, you know, put a frame around it to see. Isolate a picture in amongst it that you might like. Change it around, you know, further up, further down, further to one side, until you pick the best picture it can be. And really, I think we've done quite well. It's pretty interesting. And it's original. So if you're wanting to have a go, do pick up some scraps. Check out how to do it. And let your imagination fly. One lady commented to me when this first started that it looked like it could be cherry blossoms. And I totally agree. The truth is, every time I was faced with this material and that pattern, I would probably make something different. And that's the beauty of it. Just wherever your imagination is going to lead you at the time, have a go. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, don't forget to press like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time with something different. Thank you.